But let's start with the parade of the heavy artillery. Roy Jones demolished some myths about the division when out fighting John Ruiz this week, but doing the same to one of the superpowers, that's tougher, and he knows it. One man remains the outstanding threat to Lennox Lewis, and live this week on Saturday Fight Night, Wladimir Klitschko has the chance to prove it. Glenn has been looking into a spectacular future.
There's a new dawn on the heavyweight boxing horizon.
The heir apparent indeed confirms himself the next in line behind Lennox Lewis.
Giant Ukrainian WBO champion Wladimir Klitschko's more than ready to stand tall at the very top of the division. And alongside brother Vitali, he's waiting for Lennox Lewis's next move, following his defining night in Memphis last summer.
That's a crunching right hand, and that must finish it. Lennox Lewis seals his place in history forever and closes the book on Mike Tyson.
A lot of sport fans right now know that Lennox Lewis is the best man in the boxing. But, or the real best, he will show if he will fight against young champs.
But the money men of boxing want a Lewis-Tyson rematch, especially as Iron Mike proved he was still box office against Clifford Edian back in Memphis.
He is down for a cracking right hand. It's one of the quickest wins of Tyson's career.
Mike Tyson at his best could still beat, I'd say, 90 to 95% of the heavyweights out there. Physically, Mike has that ability. He has the punch, he still has the speed.
Roy Jones made history, winning a version of the heavyweight crown. But his future among the big men is uncertain, and IBF king Chris Bird has already lost to Wladimir, leaving just one real threat to Lewis.
Lennox Lewis right now show the best fight, and he's a real champ. And for sure, I hope the fight will be coming between Klitschko and Lewis.
Hard-punching southpaw Corrie Sanders stands in his way. And after a series of spectacular wins, the South African veteran knows this is his big chance.
You know, it's make or break for me. If I lose this fight, you know, it's obviously it's glass up for me and get out of the game, because I'm not going to be a pants bag for everybody around. So, you know, it's I've got to win. That's it. And I believe I'm going to win.
Wladimir Klitschko knows beating Lewis would confirm him as a genuine superstar. And having already shared the ring with his rival on a movie set, he can't afford to let the dangerous Sanders rip up the script on Saturday.
He's a good fighter. He's very quick. He's moving good. And I think so. It's must be for me not so easy. But I try. And I make my job like my last fight.
He's no actor. He is for real. But Glenn, what has he got to do from here?
He's really just got to keep winning. I mean, I think a fight with Lennox, if Lennox wants to fight on, that is the natural fight out there for him. You know, I know he's eyeing the Tyson fight, but this is the real challenge. He's only 26 years of age, and he's doing everything right.
So how important in that overall picture makes Saturday night?
Well, it's very important. I mean, all he has to do now is just keep winning. Just keep winning, keep getting better. You know, he's a 26-year-old. He's still got such a long time in front of him. I don't think we've seen anything near as good as he can be.
Frank, right now you're not actively involved in making these matches in the heavyweight division as you were when you were with Lennox Lewis. But is he the one outstanding threat to Lewis nonetheless?
Yeah, I think he's the best one out there, but I do think he needs to bring in American trainers. He's still very Eastern Europeanised, and I think that will be his problem if he steps up with Lewis. But there are no good heavyweights other than Lewis. I think he can beat anyone else out there.
We know in patches, Frank, that he can be extremely effective, for example, against Botha. But even on a night like that, were the signs that he's also still a little methodical, and dare I say it, in some ways reminiscent of Lewis on the way through?
Yeah, it's the way he's been coached. Lewis, when he first came across, he was coached by Eastern Europeans, and this guy's been with Eastern Europeans all his life. Until they bring in American, and I do believe they brought in Tommy Brooks, but he couldn't settle in the camp. He was there for, I think, a month and had to leave because of the conflict between him and the other trainer. Again,
a question we threw at you so often in the way Lennox was coming through. Is he capable of throwing caution to the wind if he has to?
I don't know. He's never been put under pressure yet to see, and he won't be put under pressure on Saturday night. Corrie Sanders is a perfect opponent. He's another guy who just throws shoulder punches And we've seen Sanders in England on a Lewis bill. So I think, you know, it's the right fight at the right time.
Spencer, is it a reasonable step, you know, to move on from one South African like this to another in Sanders?
Yeah, certainly I think so. And he is, you know, he is undoubtedly one of the most talented fighters coming through at the moment. But he needs to keep winning. I think that he will beat Corrie Sanders. I think he needs to carry on beating some big names so people start wanting that fight with Lennox Lewis, because not many people know about Wladimir Klitschko at the moment, but he's certainly got the talent and he's one of the best heavyweights out there.
Can he be patient if he has to be? Again, Lennox was patient for all those years.
Well, I think so. I mean, excellent amateur pedigree. You know, we've seen him there against Francois Beaufort, who's got a wealth of experience and really handled him with ease and finished the job. You know, I think that he's definitely got all the talent.
He's very smart as well. You know, this is a kid he's a doctor. He's very, very smart. Speaks about 4 languages. So I think he's patient and he'll know what he has to do.
The cynics would say he's a fighter who lost to Ross Purity.
Well, that's it. But you've got to remember, you know, coming up, he was 22 years of age. He was still just a boy, and you know, he ran out of gas. Lessons to be learned from that. But you know, fighters get beat. He's come back well.
I don't think, no matter how patient he is, he's never going to get in the ring with Lennox Lewis.
Why?
Lennox Lewis will never fight him. Lennox Lewis has one fight in his mind, and that is Mike Tyson. And then I believe Lennox Lewis may even consider fighting Roy Jones if Don King could put that together.
After Jones' success at the weekend?
Yeah.
What have you heard that you're about to reveal to us?
Well, nothing but money talks. And, you know, you saw Lennox being interviewed at Ringside on Saturday, and he said, well, only certain things will tempt me back into the ring, a challenge and money. Now, Don King is a man who, beyond any dream, could put a fight together that no one else would believe could happen. And I believe King loves the heavyweight division. And don't be surprised to see Lennox Lewis and Roy Jones get together.
There's no challengers left for Lennox. He's the best one out there, isn't it? So it's just money.
So it's money, that's all it is.
But does that not make what the Klitschkos have both been saying about Lewis absolutely correct? That really Lennox has become a businessman. This is purely a business enterprise for Lewis now.
Well, he's got nothing else to prove, has he? I mean, you know...
And how dangerous is that, Frank, for Lennox?
Well, I think it's very dangerous for Lennox. Knowing Lennox personally, he hasn't been in the ring for a long time. The one thing about Klitschko, he has stayed active. I think Lennox has now been out the ring for at least 9 months. And before he gets back in there, it's going to be over a year, and that's not good for Lennox at his age, because he's got to get back into that shape, and it's hard at that age to keep getting your body into shape.
It's hard to keep, you'll get the weight down, because he does blow pretty big, doesn't he?
Well, he looked quite big on Saturday night in the commentary position.
Thank you. Klitschko is live this Saturday night, on Saturday Fight Night with us, defending the WBO World Heavyweight title in Hanover against Corrie Sanders. The action underway at 8 on Sky Sports 1.